Hi, my name is Peter Espig. I'm the CEO and president of Nicola Mining. I would like to welcome everyone who is listening to this presentation and hope that this will provide insight into the company, our assets, and the direction of where we hope to go. It really is unique amongst junior mining companies because we are not only focused on exploration, but we are also in the middle of revenue generating operations. Nicola Mining has a very balanced team and officer level. On the officer level, we have myself, I'm the CEO and the director. I've been involved since November 7th, 2013. My background is distressed turnaround. I was an investment banker at Goldman Sachs, also worked at Olympus Capital and private equity, and was one of the founders of SPACs, having completed over $1 billion in SPACs. But really, I find that my taking on the role of the CEO of Nicola Mining is kind of a full circle of my life. When I was younger and all my way through university, I spent 8 years working in mines and as a diamond driller. So I'm one of the few mining CEOs who've actually picked up pipe wrenches and spun pipes in drilling projects, both exploration and ongoing mine projects. Our CFO, Warwick Bay, he's practiced for over 10 years. So he practiced over 10 years at one of the large accounting firms, and he's specifically focused on auditing of public mining companies. Sean has 10 years experience as a professional mining geologist and also worked for the Geological Survey of British Columbia, which is very important because he not only has the experience as a geologist, but he has a lot of community relations, which is very important because as a company now, I think we need to understand the importance of not just extracting material, but relations with not only Indigenous, but with also the community. Cameron Lilly recently joined us as the mill manager, and Cameron Lilly has an immense amount of experience, and we're very excited that he has joined the team. Frank Heugel is our chairman, and this is very important as well because we're not only actively involved as a director and management, but we've really stepped up and put our money, opened our wallets to make this project happen. And I think, again, that's not very common in most junior mining companies where you have directors and officers reaching out to investors to fund it. Frank and I were the first people to fund the company back in 2013, the previous management. Dr. Paul Johnson has incredible pedigree as a copper specialist, was previously with Teck Resources, and now he's with Element 29. He provides us an immense amount of insight and expertise in copper. And Doug Robinson is a QC. He's a well-known lawyer attorney in British Columbia. Getting into the assets, we really have 4 key assets, and I highlight that all these assets could be standalone assets for a junior mining company, but we have them as one company. And what's important to understand is that for junior mining companies, it's very difficult sometimes to extract synergies between all the assets. And I think after this presentation, you'll be able to clearly see how they fit together, the potential of each one as an individual asset, and how this makes Nicola, again, a very unique junior mining company. So I'll start with the copper asset. So we own 100% of the historic Craigmont Copper Mine. We are permitted M68, so that means that we are the 68th mining permit in British Columbia. The Craigmont Copper Mine is the highest grade copper mine in the history of North America. We have 43101 on the historic mine terraces. We have a technical report that ALS completed for us on the ability to upgrade at the site, and we have both porphyry and high-grade skarn mineralization. We also have Treasure Mountain Silver Mine, which is fully permitted mine located about 90 minutes from our site. Back in 2012, Nicola Mining at that time was called Hulder Silver, and the company had a market cap of over $200 million. And it was based on basically the mill and the upside that Treasure Mountain presented. We have a 43101 resource. We've completed exploration in 2020, and we've also just completed a electromagnetic survey over the property in 2021, which we will publish in the near future. And we also have the option, because it is fully permitted, depending on the silver prices, we may consider reopening the mine in the near future. The mine was closed in 2013, went into care and maintenance, not because it was unprofitable, but because the company ran into distress because it was over leveraged at the time. We have the Merritt Mill. This is a very unique asset in that we are the only permitted site to process material throughout the province. We own 100% of it. The land is held freehold. The entire site is zoned as an industrial site. We've entered into milling and profit share agreements, and you'll see more about that later on. And we are not only prepared to commence operations, but we have commenced operations. Recently, we did an investment into a property called Dominion Creek Property. Now, this is a very high-grade gold property where you can see initial grab samples. We had 23 samples that averaged 61.3 grams gold and 173.7 grams silver at surface. And we're very excited about this opportunity for two reasons. We have a 75% economic interest, but aside from having a property with a lot of upside, what we're excited about is that we kind of control our own destiny. So rather than relying on other projects to ship us the material, we can develop this property on our own. And we've already applied for a bulk sample permit. So the way to conceptualize the Merritt Mill is, you can see on this, this slide here that there are several dots. And then in the center of that, you can see the Merritt Mill. Well, we like to think of this as, Merritt Mill being an airport and all those other dots as airplanes. And although it's difficult to get a mine permit in British Columbia, it certainly is more difficult to get a mill permit. I mean, you have to go through years and years of consultation. You have to go through environmental impact studies, economic feasibility studies. And so there's a lot involved in getting the permit to be able to process. We have those permits in hand. We, again, as I had mentioned earlier, we own the land freehold, and we are able to accept third-party material from throughout the province, subject to notifying the Ministry of Mining 10 days ahead. Now, we only focus on high-grade material. We will not accept and process low-grade material. It's not in our best interest, but it certainly is a unique mill that can service small projects throughout the province. Again, we have a fully permitted 200-ton-a-day mill. The tailings facility is fully lined. And if you look at this diagram, what you can see on the bottom picture is that there is a lot of room for expansion. So our crushing capacities are much greater than 200 tons a day. So the bottleneck is the ball mill. And in adjusting or increasing the size of the ball mill, we can increase the amount of production or throughput that we have per day. We've invested since 2011 approximately $30 million and have just completed approximately $2 million in upgrades since 2017, prior to commencing production in July of 2021. As you see, we have approximately 900-acre property, which we purchased. We own that freehold. And so it really is a unique asset in that we have, a mill that is built for expansion. It's fully permitted. It's on a highway. And we own the land freehold, approximately 900 acres. We have a modern mill that is constructed, and we have a fully lined tailing facility, which is also not very common. The property itself, we purchased, it's freehold, and it's zoned for industrial usage. We're very excited about the new Craigmont Copper project. We are located in southern British Columbia, and this is very important because one of the things that I look at coming from the buy side as an investor as well is I always like to try and understand why the opportunity exists. And with new Craigmont, it's quite simple. The opportunity exists because in 1982, they ceased production because copper at that time was 60 cents per pound. Production was 62 cents. Now, production costs have not increased the level that the price of copper has, and that's mainly because of modern machinery, and wages have also not increased at the rate of inflation. But the main thing is that machinery is much more effective than it used to be. The site itself has a road right to the site. We are located next to Highland Valley. We have a 43101 inferred resource on the mine waste. We've had several intercepts of greater than 1%. And historically, the grades of the mine itself were 1.3%. So 1.3% is quite a prolific grade for a copper mine in British Columbia. Here you can see the location. So you can see that where the new Craigmont and Merritt Mill is, you can see that it's located adjacent to Highland Valley. You can also see the Treasure Mountain, which is 90 minutes away. It's a very convenient trucking route right to the site. And at the top, you can see Dominion property. So you can see the potential here of synergies where a material from Dominion can be shipped along highway to the new Craigmont site where we both have the copper asset and the mill. And then you can see where Treasure Mountain is. And you can see the Trans Mountain pipeline, which goes along the Coquihalla Highway, goes kind of in between both Treasure Mountain and New Craigmont. Here's a close-up where you can see in detail the roads that we are able to bring material to the Merritt Mill as well as to the coast. And so logistically, this is a very, very convenient place. We have power, electric power right to our site. The cost of power for the Merritt Mill is quite cheap compared to other facilities, especially ones that are located in isolated regions. And obviously the logistics from our site to the coast are very convenient. And just a little bit of history here. You can see that the mine operated from 1961 to 1982. There was 34 million tons mined at 1.3% copper, and it had a historic cutoff grade of 0.7%, which is why we were encouraged to explore the historic waste piles. And I'll get into detail about our drilling results that we've had, and we also will have drilling results pending in 2021. From 1993 to 2014, there were magnetite operations. So what happened was the historic mine, which closed in 1982, but again, the mine was closed with the expectation of reopening at some time in the future. It wasn't because they ran out of ore, it was because it just didn't justify mining at 60 cents per pound. But from 93 to 2014, what they did is they went through the historic tailings and they reprocessed it for magnetite, which proved to be a very profitable operation. So here you can see the copper that was produced, close to 900 million pounds of copper that was produced from 1961 to 1982. This is a very important slide because what it highlights is in this project, there was very little exploration drilling done. And what you can see here is area, which is that red zone, what you can see on my icon here, that is magnetite and hematite. And so the historic mine was discovered, and it was a skarn, and they specifically focused only on the skarn relationship between copper and the magnetite. And so beyond that, they didn't go, there was very little exploration done on the entire property. With modern geophysics and IP surveys, which they didn't have back then, we're able to explore the remaining part of the property. But you can see here some of the grades here, 200 meters of 4.4% copper. These are grades that, we would expect in deposits in Congo or even, the highest grade South America projects. But the potential here is really, really exciting for management. The historic Craigmont Mine is known as a high-grade skarn. And so one of the questions that we're often asked is that just a skarn, or is it associated with a larger porphyry system? Because if we can show that if it's associated with a larger porphyry system, there's a significant amount of upside to the project. This slide shows various skarns and porphyry relationships throughout the world. And what you can see here that I think is revealing is that the probability of having a skarn as you increase in tonnage becomes less and less. And so compared to other copper skarns worldwide, we fall into an area where you would expect that to be associated with the porphyry system. And we can confirm that we've already seen within our exploration program drill holes that contain both porphyry and skarn types of mineralization. And that's very important because although we will continue to look for high-grade skarn, we will also continue to look for porphyry type of mineralization, which you can see is occurring in other projects in our region like Kodiak Copper, and as well as Highland Valley Copper, which is the largest copper mine in North America, which we are adjacent to. This slide here shows recent results. So where we have two drill holes, which is CC 1802, and then you can see below that, you can see hole CC 1971. And what you can see is you can see clearly two different types of mineralization, the top one being skarn and the bottom one being porphyry style. And here you see some of the highlights of our drilling that we've been able to publish. So we've had drill hole 85.6 meters of 1.1% copper. Then we had 116 meters of 0.54. We had 100 meters of 1.3%. We had 71 meters of 0.6%, 73 meters of 1.0%, and 34 meters of 0.4%. So we're seeing grades that are pretty significant, and we're also seeing remnants of potassic alteration, which is characteristic of porphyry type of mineralization, and which includes chalcopyrite vein controlled copper. But we're also seeing in drill results that we have semi-massive chalcopyrite blobs associated with magnetite. This is where we have the technical report. This is on the southern dumps, which we refer to. So there is approximately 70 million tons of material there, but specifically we're interested in the southern dumps, which would be this red outlined area here. So there's some important takeaways here. So around the portal area, we had 0.23% copper. In the larger area, we had 0.13%. Because we knew that the historic cutoff grade was 0.7%, we wanted to see how much copper was contained in those waste terraces. So we conducted an RC drill program around the portals as well as the southern dumps, and because we were aware that the northern dumps really were not mineralized. We came out with around the portal area of an average grade of 0.23%, and in approximately 18.5 million tons around in the southern area, a grade of 0.13. Now, we need to put an asterisk there for several reasons, because we are going to do more testing, because what we found is that the fines are approximately 50% of the material that we tested, and the fines actually graded greater than 0.2%. So we need to do more testing in that, we know that we have grade of 0.13% in the terraces, and it appears that the fines will have a higher grade. Now, this isn't surprising. It is expected because the magnetite breaks off easy from the host rock, and we could expect that over years and years to get ground down and to become a finer material. But what it does encourage us to do is to do further testing to see, how much copper is contained in the fines. And also we did X-ray transmission testing, which is XRT sorting. We used TOMRA system in Germany, and we tested the waste piles and came up with very encouraging results. So in the results that we saw is that we were able to increase, and you can see in this column here, we were able to upgrade, 500%, 677%, 379%, up to 1,000%. We were able to upgrade the material that was there. Now, another key point to highlight is that, this is not to be compared to mine material, because it's actually on ground already. So the cost of mining is minimal compared to, an active mine. Alongside our drilling exploration, we will continue to look at the possibilities that the waste piles provide to the overall asset. Treasure Mountain is a very exciting project. It is a high-grade silver mine. There are 4 portals, and then there's the historic Jensen portal, which was mined in the 60s and again in the 80s, and that had grades of approximately 30 ounces per ton silver. We can see here one of the theories that we would like to test is to see whether the Jensen portal and the portal 1 are actually the same mineralized. It appears that they have the same type of mineralization, so we'd like to see if these two are connected. Treasure Mountain is a fully permitted mine. It has a small mines permit of 60,000 tons per year. We have, in 2012 and 2013, the company completed a bulk sample. At the time it was called Hulder Silver, but it completed a bulk sample on level 1, but stope 2 still remains in situ, and there's approximately, that volume would be approximately 12,000 tons. We have, again, a permit M239, which allows us to mine 60,000 tons per year. So we've often considered reopening level 1 stope 2 and extracting that material. A lot of the raises have already been completed. There were 11 raises required, which 7 are fully completed. But again, the Treasure Mountain, we believe, is outside of level 1 stope 2 and level 2. It's more of an exploration project, and it's in the right region. It's close to the mine. It is permitted, and we're very excited about it. We've had some very encouraging exploration results. So you can see here in 2010, this precedes current management, but samples taken where they had, like, if you look at sample 63974, 0.8 grams gold, 9,000 grams silver, 1% copper, 1.14% lead and zinc. So these are all on the backside of the mountain. So this is an area called the MB zone, which is not associated with the current mine. In 2013, based on the encouraging results, we went back. We had, again, sample MB1 was 79 grams gold, 7,270 grams silver, 0.8% copper, 1.5% lead, and again, over 1% zinc. So the grades are pretty exciting. In 2019, grab samples, we had a grab sample of 800 grams silver per ton, and again, this is at surface. 2020, we did 304 samples of soil sampling, and we sampled an exposed vein, which you can see here, 210020 was taken from an exposed vein, and that had 1,300 grams silver, which is equivalent to close to 46 ounces per ton. It also had 2.59 grams gold, 1.16% copper, and 27% lead. So again, this is not associated with the mine itself. You can see that the underground development is here, and so this is what is referred to as the MB zone. And so we'll continue to do exploration on that project, and we actually on that zone, and we actually just completed in July of 2021, which we have yet to release another airborne survey of the area. Nicola Mining presents investors a very unique opportunity because it provides both exploration upside as well as operational cash flow. And I think that's very unique amongst junior mining companies. So we have our assets, unlike most junior mining companies, are not exploration properties, they're permitted sites. And I cannot emphasize how important that is, because we all know how difficult it is to get a permit in British Columbia, and we all know the immense amount of costs that are associated with getting those permits. So we not only save time, but we save a lot of money, and we de-risk these assets because we are permitted. So with the Craigmont Copper Mine, we're a permitted mine, M68, with near-term upside potential. We have a 43101 resource on the historic mine terraces, and we'll continue to explore that property. We've completed a drill program, which we will announce the results probably in Q3 of 2021, and we're in the middle of applying for a 5-year exploration permit, which gives us a lot of flexibility on the entire site. We also have aside from the copper, the value of the grades of copper can be augmented with magnetite values. We have a fully permitted gold and silver processing facility. Again, this is a permitted facility. We've invested $30 million, approximately $30 million into the mill, into the fully lined tailings facility, and we own the land freehold. We've recently done an M&A investment into Dominion Creek, and we have a 75% economic interest. And we are a facilitator of potential small projects that may have high-grade small resources, but maybe not the capital, the time, or the ability to garner a mill permit for those sites. And we are essentially the de facto location for them to move the material and process and monetize those assets in British Columbia. And a Treasure Mountain silver mine will continue to explore the project in 2021 and there forward. My name is Peter Espig. I'm the CEO of Nicola Mining, and I'd like to thank everyone for taking the time to listen to this presentation. And we hope that this provides you insight into Nicola Mining, our 4 assets, and feel free to contact us anytime.